All right, well, we will call this meeting to order. It is Thursday, January 2nd, 2025. Happy New Year to everyone. We will begin this evening with, we have the public hearing for our fence ordinance updates, so we will open with that. The purpose of this public hearing is to hear comments, oral or written, on the proposed changes to Ordinance 552. It is the fences in the Village of Romeo Code of Ordinances. If there is anyone here that would like to speak.
3 minutes.
Good evening. Thank you, Planning Commission, for all you've done on this ordinance. The original one was much more specific and a bit cumbersome, and this one flows very nice, so I certainly appreciate that. And it is definitely easier to read. My concern is it's a little bit significantly more vague than the previous ordinance, and it leaves out some specifics that I believe should be in there. For instance, in the previous ordinance, it mentions shrubbery, bushes, trees, those types of things. And those, as we know, can pose issues as fencing or as blocking vision at corners or intersections or yards. This current regulation list leaves all of those words out. And so my concern is we have the issue now with bushes and shrubbery posing obstructions. It's not being enforced and it's not safe. If we leave all of those words out and it becomes much more vague, how are we then going to be able to make sure we're keeping the community safe, that we're finding ways to enforce this if we're that much more vague? So I would ask you to not necessarily reinvent the wheel, but in a couple of the places where those words were removed, and I can tell you, like, specifically section 6-193 would be a great place to list fence, wall, hedges, bushes, plantings. Those are the exact words that were in the previous ordinance that have been removed. And then, actually, if you go farther down to section D, number 7, where it says any other type of fence customary for residential use, potentially adding something there that's a little bit more specific, because it also leaves it open to the approval of the building inspector. And he works hard, he does a great job, but I think he could use all the support he could get to help with the ordinances and enforcing them and keeping the community safe at our intersections and in between each other. If all of those words are removed, I think our building inspector is going to have less teeth to dig into an ordinance, as well as our clerk. And those are kind of his words. He likes to have teeth. So I just ask you to consider adding those wordings back in. Thank you.
Excuse me, Shelley, could you give your name and your address?
My name is Shelley Rosso, and I'm a Romeo resident.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for me?
Thank you.
Anyone else? No, we're good. Okay. With that being said, we can close the public hearing portion of our meeting.
Motion to close the public hearing. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, moving on to our regular meeting for Planning Commission. We start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we have roll call.
Stegner is excused, Grandstaff is excused, Hall. Here. Hale,
Here.
Minton,
Here.
Webb,
Here.
Bill Parker,
Yes.
Justin Parker,
Present. Fowler.
oh, Fowler, I'm so sorry.
Here, thank you. Okay, we have approval of the agenda. Cindy did provide everyone with an updated agenda. The one that was in the packets did not have the new business items on it.
Motion to approve the agenda that was at our seats for January 2nd, 2025.
I'll second.
Good, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Approval of the meeting minutes from December 5th, 2024.
Motion to approve the December 5th, 2024 meeting minutes as presented.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, easy enough, moving right along. Report of the village ex officio member.
I do not have anything to report on at this time.
All right. Easy enough. All right, item number 6 would be public forum. If there is anyone that would like to speak on anything, now's your chance. All right.
Hearing none.
All right, moving on to new business. Item number 1, the fence ordinance approval. All right, we have the copy of the fence ordinance as it was presented to, we had sent it to council at last month's meeting, and that was, we are now ready to do the final vote on this thing. Any comments?
That's hearing from the public hearing. Is that, are those items still covered under definitions or in some way?
Well, so the fence ordinance that we were revising was what was original, what was last passed, I believe, in 2020. There's another, there are other older versions, I don't know which one public comment had, because depending on where you go on the website, you will see an older version. We did, part of us working on this was.
I'm sorry,
Let me go
yeah,
ahead.
so it's recorded, thank you.
We had the building official come in, and this revision of the fence ordinance was him asking for clarification on these items based on the last revision of the fence ordinance. So I do feel that we addressed that. Everything in the fence ordinance does not, you know, we also have our corner clearance ordinance, which is supposed to protect everyone who is intersecting at corners. The fence ordinance is separate, but I'd say, based on the updates that we have made, basically saying no, you know, the language was no obscuring fence, where now it says no fence except those established and maintained by the village or federal government shall be located with any triangle formed by the intersection of any road rights of way for that 2020 clearance. No obscuring structure or landscaping greater than what was previously 2 feet is now just 8 inches, and height shall be located within such a triangle. So if our concern is promoting keeping that area clear and safe for all those who are coming to that intersection, I think we have addressed that. And again, we were working with the building official with this, so I do, as your planner, it's my opinion that we have addressed that, but based on the comments we've heard tonight, if the planning commission would like to make any additions, we can do so.
So, under the definitions, B, under fence, or combination of materials erected. Would a shrub or a arborvitae or something like that be considered materials?
Well, if you look under permitted fence types, we have decorative aluminum, wrought iron, chain link, privacy, split rail, or post rail picket. And I'd say in number 7, any other type of fence customary for residential use may be constructed if prior proof from the building inspector is secured. I would not consider a hedge. To me, that's landscaping, that's not a fence. But again, there's an open area where the building official can decide whether or not whatever material's being put in there is considered a fence.
Why are we exempting ourselves?
Cemetery.
Why are we exempting?
Cemetery.
The cemetery in particular, that's,
Yeah.
I hate that fence, in case you're curious. Because you have to pull your car out and block the kids in order to, you have to get your nose out in the street in order to see around that thing. So my question is, why are we exempting ourselves?
Well, I mean, the fence ordinance, I can't speak for anything that's existing now is not conforming. But we can't, this is all for everything being new or replaced, has to be in conformance with this ordinance. So, you know, I don't know when that cemetery fence was built, so unfortunately I can't speak on that. But with this new ordinance, I would say
70s.
it should be a lot safer in meeting corner clearance.
I guess, for me, is, not to ask you questions while you're in the audience, is the issue like with a hedge blocking a sidewalk or a tree overhanging a sidewalk or something of that nature, or is it just the presence of them as a whole?
No, are you looking for a couple of examples so you can understand what I'm?
Yes.
That would be fine if, you'd like to.
Sorry to kind of wait, but we're not allowed to talk during public comment or public forum.
Right, dialogue.
Yeah, we can't talk back and forth during the time.
So I'll give you a couple of examples of what I'm referencing and my concern. At Dickinson and Clinton, there is a house on the corner with hedges that are 8 feet tall at least, and they butt up to each other, and they are right on the sidewalk edge. And so when you stop at that stop sign from either direction, you cannot see each other, and you
Right.
have to creep beyond. So those bushes and shrubbery have been there a very long time. They are an issue. Most recently, at North Bailey and Gates, the corner home on the northeast side installed arborvitaes, hydrangea bushes, and a few other items, and they are on the corner. They took it right up to the sidewalk, completely around the front of the home and the side. So now when you stop on North Bailey, your view to the right on Gates is completely obstructed, completely. You have to creep past the sidewalk and up almost onto Gates to be able to see to your east. And then again, there's a pole there, a utility pole. So if a car is in the right spot behind that pole, you don't see it right away. And it's a corner lot, it's obstructing, it's all hedges. It has been 2 years, and when it initially happened, I contacted the building inspector, and he said, absolutely, it can't be like that. It's a corner lot, I'll talk to them. He did. He told them it may have to come out in the future if they grow. They grow. He called a police officer out to take a look, and the officer said, I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it meets the ordinance. It doesn't, and it's not safe. And that's right where the school bus stops to pick up children in the morning and drop them off in the afternoon. And so even though the current ordinance is very clear and is being violated and not enforced, my concern is if we make this one that much more vague, we've now lost some footing. And now we just kind of will put our hands in the air. And there's others. If you go up Church Street, and right before you hit the alley, I think it's Prospect, in the summer, both on your left and your right, those homes have vegetation that grow that you cannot see, and you have to creep out to get out of that little alleyway. It's like that a lot. The library, God love the library, their bushes grow over the sidewalk all summer, and even though they're planted a foot away, you cannot pass through the sidewalk because the bushes have grown over. So my point being, they aren't being enforced, and we have a lot of specifics. If we go more vague, they're still not necessarily going to be enforced. And yes, I do have current issues that I'm concerned about
So-
and should be addressed.
Okay, so for me, most of what you said was corner clearances for like vehicular traffic and pedestrians trying to cross the street. To me, we made that more stringent. It went from
Yeah.
2 feet to 8 inches.
It is
And
for
you
fencing.
can put anything.
it's for anything.
No other obstruction structure or landscape greater than 8 inches can exist in the 20 by
So
20.
but then it's not in the definitions or permitted fencing.
But it's in the language. It's section G, under fence
It
location
is.
number 2. You cannot have anything in the 20 by 20. That was something that
Yeah.
Mike spoke
Bomarito
to,
wanted.
that Karen spoke to. We wanted safety for vehicular traffic and
Yes.
sidewalks. And then the sidewalk ordinance specifically says no obstructions. It is very specific.
Yeah.
So to me, those languages exist, and I don't like saying this, but it's a very specific enforcement issue. The language exists, it needs to be enforced if it exists. If it's not gonna be enforced, what's the point?
Right.
So while it's not in definitions and it's not in the permitted uses, because it's in that language, you feel it's
It exists in
enforceable.
the, it exists.
Says quite bluntly, you can't have anything more than 8 inches tall in there.
Yeah,
Right.
that's 8. So you can't have anything higher than this, which is a flower. Some flowers,
Right.
because,
The issue is, Andrew, is not one of the ordinances, and you clearly state that the issue is one of enforcement.
it absolutely is.
That's true of so many ordinances too.
Yeah, and the distance from the sidewalk is in here, and it specifically calls out hedges, bushes, shrubs, trees.
Everything.
Have to be maintained and a foot in from the inner edge of an existing sidewalk
Maintained.
and
They have to be
maintained.
cut back a foot. and
So all
it's
the-
everywhere.
all the-
I agree with
It
you.
is.
Everything that we're talking about is in here. It's just not being enforced, so.
I think part of my concern comes from in a couple of these areas, like on number 7, where it says you can use a type of fencing customary for residential use if prior approval from the building inspector. That's very subjective and very vague. And at this point, our building inspector is essentially giving permission for that to occur. So
Well, that's gonna be
that's why
a
I'm
rare
asking for a little bit more
case.
specific, because now it's so vague, and if that building inspector in the future can approve something different,
It would be a very long list if we listed every type that was acceptable,
Yeah.
I think.
And I don't
No, I
think we,
mean, not to discount what you're saying.
yeah.
But it would be, we'd have to be, if you don't, and I get what you're saying, if you don't follow the generality at some point, you become too specific to the point of, now you're regulating what kind of wood.
Right.
And it's,
I'm just asking for shrubbery or plantings to be thrown in there maybe.
But my-
at a certain point.
but to what you were saying with, and most of it was corner issues, we made it more stringent.
yes.
We did, because there's plenty of.
You did.
There's ones that I have in my head that you didn't say, that bother me a whole bunch. But they're there, and I don't think anybody's gonna stop and make them cut something down.
And to say no shrubbery would be.
We did,
Someone on their back lot wants to put a shrub across, we're gonna say, well, you can put it.
but it's
That's not a
shrubbery.
fence, that's a shrubbery, so it doesn't even follow in this, so it
But,
wouldn't,
yeah.
it wouldn't,
But in corner
we
clearance,
wouldn't gain anything.
we state
Because
landscape.
corner clearance is specifically saying nothing over 8 inches in that corner
Period.
clearance. What's there right now, we can't.
So if we don't have a corner lot, come up past the front of the house, before you get to the clear view, then could I have a 8-foot shrub that,
A foot back,
A foot off the
South.
line,
a foot off the
on my
sidewalk,
side yard, on my side?
as long as it's 20 feet away from the corner, yeah.
right?
Or on
As long
the
as it's a
side
foot
lot
off the
all the way
sidewalk.
down, yeah. A foot off the sidewalk maintained.
It'll be along my driveway, right along the side of the house.
I mean, my neighbor has
There's
one.
no issue with that.
The real issue is that none of these things is being enforced.
Correct.
Period.
I don't think we relaxed anything.
I think we got more stringent.
I think we got more strict. And that, I mean, it's an opinion of mine.
Okay.
Well, I didn't mean to impose
No, no,
or
no.
imply that you got relaxed. I implied that maybe a couple of other words could be added back in so that there isn't any subjective interpretation in the future.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Right.
Thank
But
you.
it is, it's great, I
No, I
appreciate it.
appreciate you
Yeah.
clarifying for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments?
That was it for me. Thank you.
Okay. All right, then, we need a motion to, put my glasses back on, there we go. We need a motion to approve the fence ordinance as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve it as presented.
Second.
The motion's been seconded.
Do we need a roll call for that? Yes?
Sure.
I know, because I was gonna say, Phil's gonna want a roll call.
Fowler,
Yes.
Hale,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Minton,
Yes.
Bill Parker,
Yes.
Justin Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, all right. That one, done. Thank you.
Who's gonna enforce it?
The building
That's,
official,
yes, no. I agree.
Mike's gonna get out busy.
Crazy. All right, the next item we have in our new business is election of new planning commission chair. Mr. Stegner has stepped down and thought he was gonna be here tonight to do this, but he is ill, as Cindy mentioned. Discussion, anyone, comments? What do you wanna do?
I'd make a motion to appoint Janice Fowler as the planning commission chair.
Just would Janice Fowler accept the
Yeah,
nomination?
does anyone want it?
I would, yes, I would accept it if that's, if the board members here so decide, that's, I would.
Are we making nominations currently?
We can,
Yes.
I'd like to nominate Lisa Hall.
yeah.
Would you
Lisa
accept my
Hall
nomination?
accept it?
I would accept your nomination.
Oh boy, how do we do that? What if
The
everybody?
nomination or motion per se would need a second on either side.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yep.
What do we gotta do for Lisa now?
Right.
Do we have two nominations, right?
You gotta make a second if you want to second one of them.
Right, we just, there, yeah.
Boy.
I can't second my own.
I can't say yours.
I will, second, I'll start by seconding for Lisa, we can go through Lisa. And then we'll second for Janice and go through Janice, I guess, right? Is that how it works? Kind of, if this doesn't go, then it goes.
Yeah, I don't know
Right.
exactly. I thought
Do we have a straw
typically
hat?
the first motion would be seconded or not seconded, then it would die, and then you'd go
We
on to
can wait.
the first, the second, the first one, then the second. So, it's typically. So if I don't get a second, then we would go to,
Oh, so we'll start with Janice?
yeah, does anyone second Janice Fowler as chair?
I'll second it.
I was gonna say,
Bill,
Bill second.
yes.
I think it should be Carl.
I tried that one already.
So
We'd need a roll call.
take a roll call
All right.
on that,
Yes,
and if
please.
that goes down, then we would go to Lisa.
Okay.
Okay. Hall,
No.
Hale,
No.
Minton,
I'll go with a yes. Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Bill Parker,
Yes.
yes. Justin Parker,
Yes.
4-3.
Janice has to vote.
Oh, jeez. I am so sorry.
Yes,
Fowler?
yes.
Do we need a vice chair?
5-2.
Do we currently have a vice chair? Or a
Grand
grant staff, that's what I thought, and then we
That
would,
will be in June.
but he's currently still in the seat, but,
Correct. Yeah.
so this passed, so now we have to appoint a secretary.
Correct.
Yeah. We should have added that to the agenda, or we can do that next month, if you're good with that.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Why don't we just continue? We need a chair, we need a secretary, because she's resigning as secretary.
Yes. Yes.
But she officially won't take the position until next meeting, so we'd have to appoint her at next meeting, because it's not on the agenda.
Yeah, so that's what I'll do next. Yeah.
Lisa, will you accept the secretary's position if it becomes available, which she's resigning in the next 5 minutes? Thank you.
Okay, we're good. All right, thank you. The last item we have is to adjourn meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Hey, I'll second by Bill.
We're out of here.
All right, all in favor?
Aye. Congratulations.
This is the